So good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining our September collab meeting. It was great to see a lot of you over the weekend last week for our paddle, and we'll share some pictures from that when we get started. So I'm Stephanie Cavino. I'm the director of the Blackstone Collaborative, and if we just want to pop around and do introductions, and when you introduce yourself, if you want to mention if there's something that you're looking forward to this fall. So I'll hand it first to Kaylee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kaylee McLaren. I'm the restoration manager at the Blackstone Watershed Collaborative. I wrote this prompt and I didn't think of anything good. Honestly, I'm going to be honest, it's pumpkin spice for me. I just got a brand new pumpkin pie spice bottle, and I'm really excited about it. So
Thanks, Kaylee. Kevin?
Hey everyone, Kevin, the Finance and Program Manager for the Blackstone Watershed Collaborative. I live in Salem, Massachusetts, so Halloween is our holy holiday here, so very excited for that, and the hundreds of thousands of people that will be joining us over the next month.
Nice. Thanks, Kevin. I've got Dave, then Peter, then Matt.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dave Connors. I am the chair of the Upton Lakes, Ponds, and Streams Committee. I've emailed back and forth with Kaylee a few times, and I believe Stephanie's been a CC on most of those. My first time meeting with the collaborative and just trying to, introduce us to, various organizations and folks around our town.
Thanks, Dave. Go ahead, Peter.
Great. I'm Peter Coffin with the Blackstone River Coalition, the Blackstone Headwaters Coalition, and Mendon Concom. I'm looking forward to my 50th high school reunion. I just bought tickets, so that's next month.
Nice. Thanks, Peter. Matt, and then Claire, and then Forrest.
Hey, good morning. I'm Matt Brown. I'm the executive director at Oars Three Rivers, and this is my favorite time of year, so I'm looking forward to pretty much everything.
Yeah, hi. My name's Forrest Snyder. I'm with Friends of Morley Field, and well, I don't know what I'm looking forward to. I guess being outside more in this is great weather, but it's funny that one person's joy is another person's poison because I can't stand pumpkin spice. So that's
Polarizing.
Yes, exactly. That's terrible, isn't it?
It's okay.
But thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining. Claire, go ahead.
I'm Claire. I'm a student, a grad student at Clark University, and I've been working with Kaylee this summer on a Morley Field project. Oh, and I'm looking forward to the leaves.
Love it. Thanks. Let's go Bryce, Judy, and then Allison.
Hey all, Bryce Dubois. I teach down at University of New Haven, but yeah, part of the Blackstone River Commons and collaborative folks, and then also Friends of Morley Field. So really thankful to be here. And I also just love the weather. Like this is my time this is the time when I'm just like want to be outside basking in it. So everything to do with it right now.
Go ahead, Judy. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm Judy Rondo. I am in the non-point source management section of the Watershed Planning Program at Mass DEP. And I think, I love fall. I think fall is my favorite season. And I'm just looking forward to getting out and enjoying the weather. I like to hike with my dogs, and it's nice when the weather starts cooling down and you don't come home and you're all hot and sweaty and covered with bug bites. So I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks, Judy.
Good morning, everyone. It's my turn, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. I'm Allison Perlman. I'm the Partnerships Program Manager at the Division of Ecological Restoration Regional Partnership Program. And I'm equally excited to not be coming home and washing myself down with, any kind of anti-poison ivy stuff. But looking forward to, I think, just slowing down. It's been a really busy summer. And so slowing down and with those cooler evenings, just reconnecting with friends around fire pits and kind of reconnecting with my community because it's been a very busy, travel heavy summer.
That sounds great. Thanks, Allison. How about Danielle, then Donna, then Nick?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Danielle Moore. I'm the Watershed Outreach Manager at the Narragansett Bay Estuary Program. And I'm a summer person for sure, but I love all of the treats and desserts and stuff during fall, the apple crisps and all those goodies. So.
Hi, I'm Donna Williams. Good morning. I'm Blackstone River Coalition and Blackstone Heritage Corridor. I'm looking forward to touring new folks around the Blackstone Valley when the foliage is just beautiful and really shows off the valley and all its assets.
Totally true. Nick, Anya, then Aaliyah.
Good morning. This is Nick Cohen. I'm a planner with the Horsley Witten Group. I'm looking forward to fall playoff baseball.
Hi all, Anya Wolchinski with Blackstone Heritage Corridor. So we are the full-size candy bar house trick-or-treating. So very much looking forward to all of the full-size candy bars that we'll be buying over the next few weeks. And I will be secretly siphoning off for myself before my husband notices. And then just the joy of every kid coming to our house being like, oh my God, I got a full-size candy bar. So yeah, looking forward to that.
I'm gonna have to come trick-or-treating at your house. That sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. Good morning. My name is Aaliyah Casso. I work for the town of Shrewsbury. I am trying desperately to get my sweater collection out. The weather is resisting me, but that is what I'm most excited about.
Thanks. How about Janine, Dan, and Marianne?
Hi, everyone. I'm Janine Silversmith, she, her pronouns. I'm the director of RIA, the can't say the name, Rhode Island Environmental Education Association. Woo, that's why we say RIA. I'm looking forward to getting maybe 1 or 2 more of the 4,000 footers up in New Hampshire. I'm halfway there. And I'm also going to put into the universe that I'm really looking forward to the reopening and rehabilitation of Morley Field.
Thanks, Janine.
Dan Giza, I'm a Tatnick Brook Watershed Association member and also a fishery biologist at Verdantis. And for fall, I'm definitely looking forward to Halloween, do a rather large display in my yard that my other neighbors get into. So it's kind of a big deal for us. So looking forward to that.
Hi everyone, Marianne Iarossi. I'm with the Trustees of Reservations. I think most excited for is probably just all of the fairs, town fairs and things of that nature. And I'm going to the Big E tomorrow, so I'm sure I'll get lots of food and go on the rides and do all the fun things.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Marianne. Let's go. I have David, Drew, and Kathleen.
Yeah, hi, my name's David Tapscott. I'm on the Uxbridge, Massachusetts Board of Health and representing 2 MVP projects currently. And what I'm looking forward to, I'm looking at the pollinators on the few blooms that remain, and just sort of watching the transition into fall with the dying down of the plants and the activity of the insects and all that is sort of interesting and I guess exciting.
Hi everyone, Drew Powell. I'm the Urban Regional Resilience Coordinator with them. I am looking forward to apple cider.
Good one. Kathleen? And then we can do Greg, Heather, and Kelly. Kathleen, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute still. Should pop up and ask you to unmute. We can let you work on that too. We'll come back. Go ahead, Greg.
I'm Greg Garrett. I'm the watershed steward for Friends of the Mashasik. I am looking forward to finally winning at Morley Field, leaf color, and going to the beach.
Love it.
Hi, I'm Heather Perry. I'm with the Blackstone River Coalition. I'm the water quality monitoring coordinator. I'm looking forward to hiking. I love hiking in the fall.
Hi everyone, Kelly King. I'm a planner with the Horsley Witten Group, and this fall I am looking forward to leaf peeping and apple picking. Thanks.
How about Deb Carey, Heidi, Donna? Oh, we did Donna and Danielle.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
I'm driving, but I'm listening, and I have two hands on the wheel. But anyway, Deb Carey, I'm with Mass Audubon and also the Greater Worcester Land Trust, and I'm looking forward to Hike Worcester Week, which kicks off today. And the best news is their first hike. This is where you're encouraged to do several hikes across the week. Starts at the Blackstone Visitor Center, so we'll be getting people out on the beautiful boardwalk trail.
Perfect. Thanks, Deb. Heidi?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Heidi Ritchie, Mass Audubon. And it's great to see Drew here. I haven't seen you in a while. I am looking forward to, being outdoors, hiking in the woods in beautiful fall colors. But I wanted to respond to David because I've been looking at the pollinators in my massively overgrown garden and learned about grass carrying thread waisted wasps the other day.
Let's see, who are we missing? I'm just going to go through my screen here. Cassandra, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra Flores, and I am Senator Reid's Community Affairs Coordinator. I'm looking forward to just enjoying the fall and seeing the leaves.
Thanks. I've got Tarshir and Amanda and Katie. Oh, we don't have your audio, Tarshir. It doesn't say you're muted, but you might have to switch your audio from your car. I don't want you to work on it too hard while you're driving there. Sorry. Okay. Thanks for joining us. No worries. Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amanda Coffier. I don't know if you guys can hear me. All right. I'm out in the field right now. I'm from Upper Blackstone Clean Water. I'm one of the lab techs here. And I'm excited for different fall festivities, going apple picking, going to the fair, putting on a nice warm sweater. So thanks.
Thanks, Amanda. How about Katie?
My name's Katie Liming. I am the Lakes and Ponds Coordinator for the City of Worcester, and I am really looking forward to the end of intense cyanobacteria season.
Nice. That's a good one. I've got Arabella, Allison, and Clovis.
Yes. Good morning.
Hi. Oh, you can go.
Arabella, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm Arabella. I'm an intern with Senator Jack Reed, and I'm finishing my last year in undergrad at URI, and I'm looking forward to fall weather and wearing fall clothes.
Nice, thanks. Allison, Hamill?
Good morning, everyone. I too am driving, and I am looking forward to my last 4 days of summer. I am on my way to the beach right now, so I'm carefully paying attention to the road and listening in. But for fall, I love my seasons starting on Monday. But I look forward to, I have a witches' night out party where all of my girlfriends ditch their children and come to my house, which is spectacularly decorated in about 1,000 pumpkins. And we have a lovely mom's night out. So that's what I look forward to in the fall.
I love it, and I
I'm
fully
part of-
support this beach trip.
Yes, and I'm part of DOT. I'm part of their stormwater management group. I'm an environmental scientist manager there.
Thanks, Allison. Clovis, go for it.
I'm Clovis Prager. I don't know if I'm too late. I was hoping to see the presentation by Claire.
You're not too late. We're just doing introductions. We're about to transition on that.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is there anyone that I missed? I'm sorry, some boxes moved around, so. Okay, with that, I will stop sharing and I will hand it to Claire. So perfect timing, Clovis.
Hello, I'm Claire, as I said. I'll share my screen now to start the presentation. Okay. Is that working? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, looks good.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so basically I spent this summer working on mapping Morley Field and the history of green space surrounding the area. So here's a little bit of background on the project. So it's been like I've worked on it in 3 different projects that I split up into. So fall 2024, the main focus was on looking at aerial imagery to understand land use change in the area. The GIF on the right is just like to demonstrate basically how we pieced together various aerial photographs to understand what Pawtucket looked like in 1972, to go back as far as possible to see what green space used to look like compared to what it looks like now. So that was a lot of digitization of past stuff. And then spring 2025 was a lot more spatial analysis to look at the patterns, more like just like geographic information science heavy stuff. And then I got to work on the project finally for this summer, which I was like cleaning up the maps and making it more effective communication tools. And then the main thing that I created with that was this story map. Did it effectively change tabs? I never know with Zoom whether it's okay, cool. So this is the story map. So I'll just go through and then at the end, if people have questions or feedback or comments, I'm definitely really excited to hear people's input who are more involved with all of this and how to make the story map the most effective, or if things don't make sense, anything like that. So this is a strong rough draft of what it looks like, and I'm happy to make any changes. So it starts with this photograph that I took when I was visiting Morley Field. I'm sure if many of you are familiar with the image. And this quote from Forrest Snyder, who I think is on the call right now, about how there's no better example of environmental justice in the state of Rhode Island than the abuses suffered by the kids using Morley Field in the Woodlawn neighborhood. So it starts with a little bit of history about Morley Field, which is that it's a 5.3 acre recreational site and it's one of the few remaining green spaces in the neighborhood. And that Woodlawn neighborhood is a low income, predominantly Latinx neighborhood within Pawtucket. So the way this map works is basically lighter areas. There's a key that you can see, but lighter areas indicate lower income. And then Morley Field is there in purple. So as you can see, it's in a very low income area, especially compared to the rest of Pawtucket. And then it goes into the bit of the history of the fight to save Morley Field. So how in the past 3 years, the city of Pawtucket attempted to demolish the field, convert it to a parking lot. Pawtucket residents have fought back because it's one of the only accessible green spaces in the area. And the rampant environmental racism in a decision to get rid of the only field in a neighborhood. And then it's a little bit about why green space is so important, which I think is pretty intuitive to most people, that it's good to have green space in neighborhoods, but just for the purposes of being convincing, I added some information from the World Health Organization about how green space is important for health, well-being, for relaxing. It's also good for eliminating heat because urban centers often increase heat because there's so much concrete and all these other scientific things that I won't go into about urban heat islands. And parks can really help that. And this picture of a family playing in a park is from the Pawtucket City website, which is, oops, just to highlight that they do seem to care about that. And then you keep scrolling and highlighting how everything is sort of getting worse. And as climate change increases, parks are even more important. This is another picture from a flooding in Pawtucket. Like if parks are necessary now, they're going to be even more necessary. And then a little bit about what it means actually for green space to be accessible. I think something I found when I was doing the research is that there are a lot of different ideas around what makes green space accessible, and people will often point to a green space and call it accessible when it's not actually. So I wanted to just be very clear about what that is, which means that it must be open to the public and close to residential areas, so people living there can actually get there. And the picture is again another picture of Morley Field, clearly not accessible right now. So in doing that, I looked through a lot of the ownership records of the city to see like what green spaces are actually publicly owned. And what I saw is that this map, as you can see, even though green space is sort of evenly distributed through around the city, if you compare private and public green space, so the private is the dark green and the public is the bright green, which people can see here. There's one public co-owner space right there, like in the yellow. But basically a lot, even though there is some green space in the area around Morley Field, it's mostly privately owned. So I found that was helpful to show that like the green space that exists is mainly this like huge privately owned area over here, which I think is the cemetery. And then another thing I looked at the suggestion of Bryce was that even if you were to just look at the population of children, so anyone under 18, Pawtucket also has a pretty young population. So that's the percentage of children. The lighter colors mean higher percentage of children. Here's the key. So yeah, there's a lot of children who would definitely benefit from having a park, as all people would. And then it's even worse if you look only at public green space that's accessible to residents, that's also designated specifically for residential use. I think that's where you see especially how bad it is to get rid of Marley Field. Again, it's in the purple, and those are all the only other recreational spaces, which is basically just parks, but that was like how the land use maps characterize the parks. And then this is the main part sort of is that like if you get rid of Marley Field, so many fewer people have access to parks. So here, this you can toggle between two maps. So on the left is if Morley Field exists. The darker yellow is walking distance within like people who can access a park 2 minutes with a 2-minute walk. The like brighter yellow is within a 5-minute walk, and the lighter yellow is within a 10-minute walk. So that's with Morley Field, and then this is without, and that whole area basically doesn't have access to a park within 10 minutes. And as you can see, the nearest parks are really far away, and high walking distance, probably about 20 minutes. So yeah, just to summarize that, without Morley Field, 4,378 people lose access to the park within a 10-minute walk. That's estimated based off the 2020 census, based on guessing like who from the 2020 census of that area lives in the residential areas that don't have access to the park. And of those people, it's 774 children who are losing access to a park within a 10-minute walk without Marley Field. And then a little bit about the history, like why is it that way? I'm sure many of you know about the history of Pawtucket and about histories of environmental racism. But just to look very concretely about what green space used to exist, this map shows green space lost. So the area in red is green space that was removed from 1972 to 2003, which brings me back to that doing the aerial imagery. And then the orange is space, that green space that was removed from 2003 to 2020. And I think when you look at Morley Field again in the purple, a lot of the area that has been lost around Morley Field is that more recent green space lost. And then finally it finishes with what can you do now? Obviously, if people have other things that are important to add to this, but right now it's getting involved with the Morley campaign, Save Morley Field campaign, by going to this link, which has a bunch of stuff to sign up for, and connecting with Greg at the Friends of Shasek. So that is that. And then just to finish, questions, and thank you. You can email me there.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
open to
So
those questions or
if you
thoughts.
have a question, feel free to either raise your hand, put it in the chat, or just jump in. Clovis, go for it.
Thank you very much, Claire. That was amazing work there. I really like it. So thank you so much. I just wanted to, because I like to be able to share this with the community and as many groups and folks as possible. So I just want to know if there's going to be some sort of a link to the presentation or a video that can be put out.
Yes, we can definitely do that.
Okay.
Gonna make it public as soon as I hear any comments. I can make any final changes, and then I'll make a public link and make sure it gets out to everyone.
I see David and then Janine and then Forrest and then Greg. Sorry.
Hey, Claire, thank you very much. I love story maps. I think they're just phenomenal ways of looking at things from a distance. I was interested in how easy it was. Well, first of all, part of the MVP project I'm involved in now involves creating a pocket forest, which would have similar properties that you're talking about, although it's not in a heavily urbanized area. And I was wondering how easy it was to measure the number of residents within that 5 or 10 minute walking distance. Did you go out and count people? Do you have census data on a map form? You can email me privately if you want, or just explain it briefly.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of documenting the methodology so people can repeat it for things that they're interested in. But just to summarize, there's a tool you can use in mapping. I don't know how familiar you are with the mapping tools to measure walking distance towards an area at different like buffer amounts. And then after I did that, I looked at which residential land was in those buffers. And then after that, I looked at census data to see how many people were estimated to live in the entire area and did a statistical summary to see based on the number of people in the whole area, how many people probably live in that residential area. And then I summarized that. So it was just a lot of going bigger to smaller and summarizing stuff, but I can send the exact details and the things I used to you.
That would be
I'll
great.
send out the
Thank you.
methodology to everyone too, if you're interested.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Great work.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. Thanks.
Janine,
Oh, sorry. I knew
go
I was.
for it.
I just
That's okay.
Thanks, Claire. This is great. And I'm really happy to share it with the RIA community. A couple of things, and I hope this doesn't come off as critical. There were a couple of things that I was like, "Ooh, I wish that they had said that." And so, do you mind do you want those now? Do you want them separately? I don't want to seem critical because I love this, but I'm like, "Ooh, I wish it had this thing." Is that okay? It's
Yeah, I'd
mostly
love
with
to
the
hear that. I
narrative.
really was
Okay.
excited to share this so I could get feedback. So thank you.
Cool. And so the maps are fantastic, the visuals are fantastic. It was with the narratives. I thought one thing at the very beginning somehow saying that Morley Field is protected in perpetuity, so it is actually illegal, never mind unethical and racist to close it down and pave it over, but it is illegal. So something about being protected in perpetuity. Another thing was the benefits of green spaces. You highlighted them beautifully. I might add to them that the economic benefits and the decrease in crime that occurs when there are green spaces, because we all know we live in America, it's a capitalist society. People react more to those two things than they do to other things. I think those other things are just as important, if not more important. But anyway, so economic benefits and decreasing crime are two things. The economic benefits too can be things like real estate value, people coming into an area spending money, community events and fairs and things like that. And then the only other thing was accessibility. And I'm really glad you brought that in. And I don't know if this is true about Morley Field, but I'm wondering if an accessible green space is considered accessible if it's accessible for people with different mobility, different levels of mobility. And so someone in a stroller or a wheelchair, someone, whatever it is, someone who is visually impaired. not to throw too much. I know you want to keep the narrative tight. And I do want to end by saying it's really fantastic. So I hope this doesn't come up. I know you don't know me, but it's great.
Thank you. Those are all really good ideas and I appreciate it. And I definitely, yeah, it took in and out the legality stuff, so I'll put that back in. So thank you for mentioning that.
I think I saw Forrest's hand next, and then there was.
No, you had Peter and then me.
Okay, sorry. Peter and
okay.
then Greg and then Forrest and then Heidi. Thank you.
Well, Greg could go first, but just as a land use planner, I'm interested in the difference between and your struggle with getting the documents together. You did a great job. The difference between land use and land cover and how you identify open space versus recreation. I guess the one specific question I have is public recreation is often provided at schools with playgrounds. Was that included in your list of public open space?
Yeah, so the way I categorize stuff is I started with the 2020 and 2003 land use maps, which have the categories of whether it's recreational and they like have specific about if it's a school or something else. I actually did exclude schools from the green space list because often they seemed like they had less public access, but that's a really good point. And I can, when I put the methodology, I could actually go through and change it back to include them. That makes more sense. And then for the 1972 aerial map, instead of using land cover, I compared what I saw visually to what the land use maps had categorized them as, and then sort of extrapolated based on what I knew for sure was public land or recreational land to the areas that didn't exist going forward. And I can share the methodology of that too, and maybe categorize it a little differently based on what you're saying.
Well, great, because when I had young children, I would go to playgrounds. You got to go to a different one. And so schools were high on the list. Thank you.
I want to echo some of Janine's comments, especially around the economic benefits, more and more, and I suppose the health benefits. And the other thing I want to know is where do I send your check? Friends of the Mashastic offered a stipend for this project.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. We will get that information over to you.
Okay.
Sorry,
great.
that's on my part being slow.
Thank you. And an excellent job.
Yeah, hi, Claire. Yeah, it's fantastic what you've done. It's really good. And for me, some of the statistics really bring the point home. And I would encourage you to include, that 4,273 number of people not able to walk to a park. It's heartbreaking, really. And the same is true with the number for kids. So if you can include kind of statistics that have a human value to them, I think it's really important. In kind of following in on Peter's comments, I'm a little curious about the lighter green, brighter greens that was highlighted right above Morley Field to the north of Morley Field. What is that? Because I know that land, and Greg could probably talk about this. I mean, if it's along the Mashastic River, it may be public land, but it's like this weird strip sandwiched between 95 and a parking lot and a car wrecking yard. And it may be public land, but it's certainly not publicly accessible, and Peter could never take his kids there.
Yeah, no, it's totally not accessible behind all kinds of fences and stuff and parking lots. And some of it is the river is like literally about 50 feet from I-95 and totally not accessible from that side either.
Right. So I guess my point then is like making clear to those seeing the presentation that all of the lands highlighted aren't necessarily, they may be public and designated recreation potential very way off in the future, but they're not accessible. And, so the map may be even more dramatic than it appeared to be.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I was unsure about what to do with that because I know that area isn't accessible, but I was worried if I got rid of that area because I knew it wouldn't be like true to the rest of the map because I hadn't gone through every other space to confirm it like on the ground if it was accessible, which is why I ended up doing just recreational spaces because I knew it was definitely not recreational. So that seemed like a way to get rid of it without only getting rid of that area. But I agree that maybe a note to highlight that, like in wording, that that's definitely not accessible could be a good addition. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I think you should always err on the side of honesty and giving more information than less. But yeah, whatever you can do to clarify that would be great. Good job.
If I can ask one other thing as a follow-up to that, actually, I thought the same thing, and when you zoom in on the map, you can see that it's just basically like a highway buffer. So maybe one more after you show that first slide and you see the green space, just putting one more like little scroll saying, okay, it looks like there's green space here, but here's what it really looks like. Even just showing an aerial of it or a view from the ground, and just a note that this is not accessible space. It's a highway buffer. It's not something we would ever use. I think that would be really clarifying. Sorry, Heidi, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. That's a really good comment. So yeah, I was gonna say something about adding in the protected status. I don't know how that works in Rhode Island compared to in Massachusetts, but here we have something called Article 97 of the state constitution, and communities or the state can't just you know, convert a public park to development without approval of the legislature and a lot of other procedures. Um, so I think I read some articles about this, and it would be really helpful if the story map could maybe just give a little bit more information about exactly what's being proposed and like how did the park come to be fenced off the way it is? I mean, that it's even not accessible now, even though it's there. I've seen a lot of fights over parks, but not one where the municipality just like made it inaccessible before they even did a conversion of it.
And this
Just to
was the
notice
Water
though,
Conservation Fund.
just to note that one of the things the city did was they did some test pits in the park and there's like rocks strewn all over it. So at this point, it's a health hazard just because of what the city did. They claim they closed it because it's a brown field, but Forrest can testify on it that that's no more contaminated than any of the other like old industrial area parks in Pawtucket. But mostly they closed it after they like dug some pits in it and strewed rocks everywhere so that they could figure out if they were going to use it as the rainwater system for the factory, for the old factory site that's being turned into a warehouse.
I just want to note Deb's question in the chat, which is what is the status of funding, if anyone's aware of that? And then I'll give it to Bryce.
Funding for what?
I know she's driving, so I'm not sure if she's able to jump back in.
Are we talking about funding for Morley Field or the JK Equities lot?
Yeah, until we have that, it's like hard to answer.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. Deb, if you are able to jump back in, let us know. Bryce, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, and Deb, if you do have a chance to jump in, I'm happy to stop talking. Yeah, Claire, yeah, awesome work, and like I think that slider is so effective, and obviously folks are really interested in that, and that is obviously such a powerful tool and visualization, and then obviously the numbers that you connect to that are so powerful. So to me, that's like getting there and prioritizing that as something to get the viewer to and making sure that you get them to that point is really important. So I think just like practicing with yourself as you make these revisions, how you get someone to ensure that someone scrolls there, that because to me at least that's like where the story, it just hits people. My two other thoughts I had was just going back to Peter's comments around the schools and the different designations, and I know you've been sort of thinking about those different aspects for a while with this project. And one way that I was thinking about you making some decisions were around the idea of the municipality's responsibility to maintain the commons and or the public trust, and sort of what the idea that like these recreational spaces have a certain kind of responsibility that they have to maintain, which is not the same for a school grounds. And so how they maintain that is different. So I think like the final visualization that you use, I think is a good decision. And then because it has that kind of responsibility, but then, you know, you might have a separate, if you do have the you know that visualization with the school grounds or those other typologies, you know, to also include that just as a way if that disappears, right? And you know, if you had that available, I know that I might be asking a lot, but if that was available, that's something just to show. And so therefore, especially those that wanted to counter any of your analysis, your conclusions, that you'd be able to say, yes, here's the school grounds or these other types. But when we're talking about, you know, a city's responsibility and a state's responsibility to maintain property and public access, and the right to this and a certain kind of expectation, that's a certain very specific expectation for those kinds of park recreational spaces. Um, and then just a last comment that folks had made is sort of initially open with LWCF designation. And then for me, what's powerful about the what you've mapped, which is also hopefully for especially Rhode Island municipalities, is to be aware that the communities are now aware of the power that we have to hold municipalities accountable for conversions of LWCF properties. And so it's not to say that like, and this is every place, but we know that there are many municipalities throughout Rhode Island that have converted properties without going through the process of conversion. And so the what's really something else that's valuable about what you've done is you've shown how, you know, you're going to share the methods, right? And to just say, you know, that this is an example of an LWCF property that's going through conversion. You know, there are many other properties that share the same, many other parks that share the same you know, designation, and here and a lot of the details about the value of these parks and the way that you can do some analysis is possible for you. And just to sort of like end in that way, just be or that could be one of the sort of future directions, just because there are so many parcels that we know have been converted without going through the process, or potentially maybe as you know cities make some decisions going forward. So again, yeah, resonating with folks, really appreciate the work and all that you've done here. So thank you. And yeah, if you have questions about what I said.
I think I can pipe in now.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we heard
Okay.
you.
So my question was, I just didn't understand where this stood from a funding standpoint. Is there an estimate of what it would cost to restore the park? Or are you just in the stage of trying to save the from turning it into something else? In which case, are there elected representatives involved at any level, either city councilors or state reps or senators?
Yeah, Clovis, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yes, so that's actually, I mean, you're absolutely right, because right now we're just more concerned about preserving it, and then funding. You know, I don't think we're too concerned about that because there's plenty of funding that you know available, federal and state, that could eventually get it done. It's just saving it is right now the most crucial aspect of it.
And there's a proposal on the table to turn it into something else?
Yeah, yes, there is a conversion application that was submitted to convert Morley Field by the city, but not just Morley Field. I mean, the process is supposed to be you would only present one application at a time that the municipality is supposed to do. Instead, they added several other pieces, including McCoy Stadium Annex, which is next to the McCoy Stadium. And at this point, even that application, besides being full of inaccuracies, fabrications, and skewed metrics, also it's supposed to have a fair replacement site, same size or bigger, more amenities or equal, and all of that. And it doesn't, because when you add all the other LWCF sites that they added to this, it goes beyond the 9 point something acres that they're proposing. And the 9 acres that they're proposing, probably at least a quarter of it, if not more, or a third, is wetlands. It's not buildable, so it's not even suitable for what they're suggesting. So, and finally, just so there's myself. I'm a city councilor for the Ward area district where Morley is situated, and we also have 2 state reps who are supporting this. And there are other, elected officials who, although haven't gone on the record, are silently, I suppose, supportive, which doesn't do us too much good, but it's there. So.
I guess my only suggestion would be an estimate, maybe based on some other projects around New England where a field that size has been converted into a usable park as you all imagine it. So people know what you're talking about in terms of the alternate cost if they go different routes.
Yeah, the proposal that they submitted is I mean, it's kind of foolish. Even the DEM and the NPS have commented on the fact that all they've shown is a rudimentary design of 2 soccer fields next to each other. That's their proposed replacement. And it's also placing it next to 2 existing fields that are already there. A beautiful baseball field and Max Reed, which is a football soccer field, which is well done. So that area doesn't need any more green space.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks just want it reopened to what it was, right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that you're asking for a big renovation that would cost a lot of money. It's just reopen it and mow it so that we can use it just like we did.
Yeah, and replace the sprinkling system, which they shut down it's been years now. So I mean, all of that. There's no maintenance.
Right.
The restrooms and all of that needs to be renovated, and the lights. And the osprey nest needs to stay. I mean, you add the new lights, but leave the osprey. I don't think they can touch it.
So Kevin, and then Greg, and then
I would think that would be a strong selling point, that it's not an expensive next step.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yeah. So fantastic job, Claire. I'm always a visual learner, so being able to see that and being able to interact with it, I think is really powerful. I think one thing that could be touched on is also the proposed replacement site. That although I'd say a lot of folks don't think that it's even a suitable replacement just due to location, you can also point out issues with that site as well, which really liken back to the same issues that they're saying that there are about Morley Field, which is why it's closed. Whether that be soil contaminants, the proposed site is in a cemetery along the Seekonk River, so there's been testing all throughout that area, I'm sure, that shows that it has the same contaminant load that really anywhere else would within any local city of Pawtucket Park. But also just like the amount of grading that's needed to be done, kind of what Deb is saying, or was believing with Morley Field, where it's like, well, you're gonna have to go through a lot of work. Like Morley Field doesn't have a ton of work. The proposed site is the place that has a lot of work, where you actually have to start flattening the land. You have to build new recreational facilities. You have to do all of this stuff. Morley Field is taking down the fence, mowing the lawn, and replacing a water system. So I don't know if there's like some type of table that could be done where it's like issues about Morley Field, issues with the proposed site, but I think that visual of like, oh wait, Morley Field is actually a much easier site to open up than closing it down, paving it, and then a few years down the road opening up this new park that has all of the same issues and more. So I think that could be really powerful as well.
Thanks, Greg.
Couple of things. One is that Morley Field, the field itself is flat, but they're going to need to do some work on it, partly because of all the rock that's been strewn around. They're probably, if they were going to do it, would probably put new topsoil, and they'd have to figure out the drainage. One of the things, though, is that the site next to Morley, which is being turned into this warehouse. Morley was supposed to be the parking lot for this warehouse. There's other places they can park, but they still need to do a rainwater management system. And so something I've been thinking about is that they should put the rainwater management system in the park. You can even incorporate it into the park, but a lot of it would be underground, and you could build that in. I mean, though I was talking to head of DEM yesterday, and he was saying, well, how much contamination do we have to worry about before you're managing stormwater in that old site? But the actual, field itself, you're going to put new soil on and stuff, but that's not huge money. There's always been a fence around it. They probably need to fix the fence, but all they really need to do is just take the locks off the gates. And actually people can get in there now, and it's used for various things like living, because there's no place else to go in Pawtucket. But there's just big holes in the fence. So, there's maintenance to do, but it's really not expensive, and all of us are quite confident that it would be relatively easy to come up with the money to fix it if that was what was going to happen. And we're still trying everything we can to get this thing thrown out. They haven't quite figured it out yet.
Thanks, Greg. So thank you again so much, Claire, for putting all of this together and presenting it. You had so many compelling elements of this, and I think with everything that folks gave you as feedback, it'll be even better next round. So feel free to follow up with us. And I don't know, this I know is a really popular topic. I know I wanted to take the time it deserved. If people want to have another meeting about this and see the kind of update that Claire produces, let us know. Or if you want us to just share that link with you again when the information is updated on the story map, then you can feel free to just follow up with Claire as well directly and give her that feedback. She just put her email in the chat as well. And Claire, are you also able to share the link to the story map? Is it published publicly yet?
It's not published publicly, but I think I'll make a few of the changes people mentioned and then send the link to publish it publicly along with the methodology for recreating it. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for the feedback. It's really helpful. I feel like I've been just staring at a computer, so it's really helpful to be reminded of what actually is important and how to frame it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, the work.
Thank you, Claire.
Great.
Okay.
So if you have other questions, feel free to put them in the chat if you think about them, or follow up with Claire. And we're going to run through some other updates. So that was an academic partnership and research update also that Claire had been working on this great work. And Kaylee, do you want to talk about our sediment intern?
Yeah, so we're really excited to have Kari Smith McInnes come on board as our sediment intern. She's going to be looking at the analysis that I did and kind of building on that. Specifically on the main stem, we're interested in the quality of sediment, specifically chemical core, chemical composition sediment core samples that have been taken. So if you have sediment data along the main stem and you want to send it to me, that would be super helpful.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we're excited for this. And also, if you were at our paddle last weekend and got to the brewery with us, you got to see this really cool model that Commonplace Landscape and Design had, Landscape and Planning, excuse me, had created with us. And Emily Vogler, if you worked with her, and her colleagues and interns, Sophie and Ben, made this like 30-foot long, really cool model that is to scale. Of you can see the elevation change from start to finish. And they added these little flags to show where all the dams are. And it was really fascinating to have everybody kind of come over and be like, wow, look at all of these dams. You had to go around every single one of them on your paddle. And it really sparked a lot of conversation. So we're thinking about how we can use this as an education outreach tool moving forward. So we've talked about maybe putting it, getting a little case for it, but putting it at public libraries or bringing it to different events. So if this is something that you're interested in, that you think your community would like to host, please reach out to us and let us know. We'd love to work with you and bring it. It's also in sections. So each section's maybe like 4 feet or so. So it's easily moved. It's not just this giant thing you have to move on a flatbed. And it's not too heavy. It's made out of like a really dense foam. So that was really cool. So for access, I mean, the big thing for us is we just went down the Blackstone River, and thank you so much to everybody that participated in that. We had, I think, 7 people that did the entire paddle with us. And on one day we actually had 11, which was a lot of people and sometimes was a bit crowded. It was the most narrow part of the river as well, but it was really nice to be able to go down the entire river, and we were super good about documenting everything. So we points where people seem to be using the river, where people are walking down and maybe fishing or something, so we can think about how we can formalize some of those access points. We noted where there are down trees and maybe we need maintenance, where there are large piles of trash and tires that we could potentially remove. And there's this super cool river trail. It's sort of like a Google Street View, but for the river. And because of battery issues, we don't have certain sections mapped, but we'll be able to go back and paddle those again with this really cool 360-degree camera and document those. And I'll show you an image of that in just a second. We also met on the way with the Millbury Conservation Commission and talked about a new access point. We had been going back into the river after a portage in the grocery store parking lot, and for liability reasons, they would rather us not do that, which is fair. So luckily we identified this really small VFW parcel that's owned by the town right across the street that people also seem to be using as an existing access point. So we're really looking forward to making that into something more formal. There were about 6 other different access point improvements that were hopefully pretty easy. And we can work with the communities to get those going. And we'll be meeting with communities in the next couple of months as well. So lots of you will be hearing from me if you haven't yet. So we'll include all those different improvements, whether it's around dams or debris or access points. We also met with a couple of really amazing local stewards in the mid-reach section of like Uxbridge, Northbridge. And there's Steve, who came to our last meeting, has started a new nonprofit specifically around the Tri River, so the Blackstone West and Mumford rivers, and just cleaning those up. So there's going to be a lot more hopefully going on with those areas, and we'll be working with him to support that work as well. It was also just amazing to chat with people on the river. There were so many times when there was someone just kind of having a cookout by the water or sitting along the banks, and they just were like, "Hey, what are you doing?" and chatted. And that's always my favorite part of it. But it was a really wonderful experience. And we had a lot more water this year, so we were able to actually float in certain sections. So here are some pictures. People get really excited that we saw this nesting pair of bald eagles, and this is pretty consistent. Every year we see them in the same spot. They're right above the Riverdale Dam. Lots of really challenging access points and lots of really beautiful views. So does anyone else who was on our paddle want to jump in and say anything about it?
The only thing I'll mention is that we'd really like to be able to get people out on the river, especially folks that are within the towns or work for the towns or municipalities that want to get a different view of where they live and what they live around. So if that sounds of interest to you, feel free to reach out. My email address is kevin@blackstonecollaborative.org. And we'd love to be able to schedule some time to go out, especially since we have to fill in some gaps on that camera. So give us an even better excuse to do that.
Yeah. So this is what that, and thank you so much, Kaylee, for putting all this together. Gosh. This is what it looks like. So when you go down the river, it just took a picture like every 10 seconds, and you can zoom in and out, you can pan. But it's this really cool 360 view, and you get to, if you go backwards far enough, you get to watch all of us behind the camera paddling down the river. So it's just such a cool thing, and we're so appreciative to the Map Center in Pawtucket for providing us with this equipment, having this idea. I wish I was brilliant enough to think about it years ago. but it's going to be a game changer, I think, so people can really see what does the river look like in each of these different sections. So we'll be updating that as we go. And if someone's able to grab the link and maybe share that in the chat, it does make you sign up for an account, but it's free thing that will make sure they can count how many people are using it. It's open source. And if you go on your phone and do it, it just downloads an app. You don't actually have to create an account, but you have to have the app.
So I think Bryce dropped the link in the chat. Also, Steph, you're breaking up just a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'll stop my video for a second. Hopefully that helps. Sorry.
All good.
So then on the last day, we had some brave paddlers go out and join us for the last few miles on the river. And we ended at Narragansett Brewing. Everybody was very appreciative of having a dry t-shirt at the end because unfortunately we had beautiful weather for 4 days. And then the last 15 minutes or so, it absolutely poured on us. So we all got a bit wet, but it was a really great time. And people were really excited about being able to get in the river, like Kevin said, in another section as well. So we're putting together our website. It's really bare bones right now, but if you want to learn more about our work as part of this Mishkittikuk Sepe or Kittikuk Restored Plan, you can check out our website. We just made a new webpage at blackstonecollaborative.org/river-restored. And we have like a one-pager on there, and we'll be adding some more information really soon. And that's what all of this work is about, of working with communities and identifying how to improve connectivity and access and hydrology. Anything else on access that folks want to add? Okay. Does anyone have any bikeway or greenway updates? We use the bikeway a lot for portage. So that's what it was used for most recently for us, but we don't have other updates for it. I don't have any other fish passage updates either. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of conflicts and had to cancel our last couple of meetings, but we are looking forward to meeting next month, and we've done a lot more primary source research. So putting together a more interesting, complete timeline about this project's history and how it came to be. And we'll be updating that hopefully on our website soon as well. For water quality, I'll hand it to Kaylee.
Yeah, so we had 2 CSO events. The most recent was actually a significant amount of untreated volume. It was 2.7 million gallons of untreated, and this is 0.009 of treated million gallons. So I'm curious at how they got this number and like what the circumstances were. So I've been meaning to connect with DPW about this event, and our next CSO working group meeting will be November 11th from 2 to 3. So if you're interested in that, definitely let me know. I also wanted to say that big CSO event was on September 6th, and then we paddled that section September 11th. So that was the first day of our paddle, and we noticed a lot of what appeared to be toilet paper hanging from the trees, which was really pleasant. So yeah, not saying that that's exactly what it was, but that's what it looked like to me. So we'll be bringing that up at our next CSO meeting as well.
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering why
I know on
that
that
weather got so close.
It's really like windy, twisty in that area. So yeah, sometimes you gotta. But yeah, this is our colleague Ben. He's narrowly avoiding it in this photo.
Yeah, I know that we got a lot of rain in a very short amount of time. It was buckets of rain that day. So I think at certain times they know that they're going to be overwhelmed and they open the gates so as to not flood their own infrastructure. But it's a question of what is the tipping point of that transition, and if there could have been more held, or maybe they held as much as they could, but that treated number was really low. So it's a good question.
Yeah.
Anything else on water quality that folks want to share? Okay. We have great news for dam removal. For one, we recently heard from the Dam and Seawall program from the Massachusetts Energy and Environmental Affairs that we were funded. So we will be getting about a $250,000 award, which means that we have the funding in hand for final design and permitting for the removal of two privately owned dams in Douglas, Old Mill Pond Dam and Douglas Mill Pond Dam, really uniquely named there. They're directly behind Hayward Landing Apartments, and this private dam owner's been really on board and excited about getting these removed. So now we are on to pursuing implementation funds to get them out of there. So we're really, really excited about that. And similarly, oh, we don't have a slide. Sorry. Similarly, we're really excited for the town of Uxbridge. Oh, we do have this right here. The town of Uxbridge got their MVP grant to remove Homebrew Dam, and that is implementation funds. So that is happening. We're so excited. And we are part of that grant because we will be working with a local videographer to do a time-lapse video of its removal. So we're really excited to have that information and to share it with everybody. I feel like that's something that people always ask is like, what does this really look like in person and beforehand and afterwards, and how fast does it recover? So hopefully this time-lapse video will be able to share that. We're still trying to figure out the technology on that, but there may also be an option of having it viewed remotely live. So that will be an interesting option that we can see if we can share that with everybody as well. David, do you want to mention anything else about your grant?
Just that it's getting contracts are being verified now, and we're just getting started. We'll have a kickoff meeting pretty soon. The partners, including Stephanie and Kaylee and some people, Heather from are going to be part of our public and school-based education, as well as working with the schools to develop a citizen science program for doing some before and after data collection and a lot of community engagement. And it's pretty exciting. It's for those that don't know, it's been fully permitted for 2 years and just sort of ready to go. The engineers we're working with are all on board, and it's pretty exciting. So
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, just want I went out yesterday with Heather and Joanne Holohan, and Dave, thank you for including the BRWA's education program. So installed some leaf bags. So Joanne is going out and catching macroinvertebrates and going to document before and after maybe potential changes. So it's a beautiful
cool.
spot.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that. I'm meeting with her this afternoon, so she'll update me. Thanks, Peter.
Awesome. We're so excited about this.
Yeah, me
It will
too.
be it'll be the one of the first dam removals in the whole watershed in modern history. So we recently learned that there were 4 in Sutton that the Mass Wildlife removed in this one wildlife management area complex. But other than those mass wildlife removals, this will be the first. So we're incredibly thrilled that this is happening and can use it as a case study for others. We're also working, I should mention, through the Mass ECAN Ecosystem Climate Adaptation Network. There's a working group on dam removal, and we are creating a template to create case studies around dam removals. So I'll be sharing that with you as well and trying to fill out some of that information. Similarly, we're excited for the town of Hopkinton, who's kind of on our fringe. They split between our watershed and another, that they also were funded for their MVP project and will be part of their core team, and also the city of Worcester. So you may have heard the city had funding previously for this flood modeling and stormwater modeling, and they'll be moving forward with that work. And I don't know if Katie is still on the call, if you want to add anything. Might have lost Katie. Okay. But we're excited for that one as well. And then finally, we're just sharing that we had recently applied to the Rhode Island Foundation for some capacity funds, and we were invited to submit a full proposal. So we're excited about that, and we'll be getting that in really soon and hopefully bringing in some more private funding to the collaborative. So a few partners asked us to share things. I'm going to run through those and then I'll hand it off to you guys. One is there's a Machine Burn coming up from September 29th to October 4th. So the Hasemisko Nipmuc Band and Friends of the Blackstone are going to be doing, so a Machine Burn is just what you see in the photo here. You take a really large log and you burn out the inside to create a dugout canoe. And it's a demonstration that folks can kind of like come by and just pop in and out and see how that works. It's a really fascinating process. It's a really community event as well. So I encourage you to check it out. And then when it's done, it'll be at the 295 Blackstone Visitor Center. The Stormwater Innovation Expo is also coming up on October 8th. I think it's a Wednesday. It's going to be a really amazing event. Kaylee is going to be presenting at it about culvert assessment, and there's a ton of really wonderful presentations and site walks that will be going around. They hold it at the Roger Williams Park. It's a really great space with a lot of different stormwater projects that you can see, really hands-on. So I encourage you to check it out, whether you're in Rhode Island or in Massachusetts or other areas. We also want to share that one of our partners and funders, the SNAP Network, is hiring some liaisons. So they're hiring both a Massachusetts and a Rhode Island liaison. So they work directly with the partners and with communities in the SNAP region around technical assistance and stormwater management, climate resilience, stormwater financing, all these different things. So they will look at either a part-time position for each of those, or they'll also consider a full-time position for applicants who have experience in both Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So if you take that job, you'll be working with us a lot. So I hope it's someone that we know. We're excited about that. One of the last ones here is exciting news from Mass Energy and Environmental Affairs. They're starting a new Eco One-Stop program. So we'd been on the Community Climate Advisory Committee and helped give some feedback to simplifying grant applications for communities. So instead of trying to figure out the DER grants and the watershed-based plan grants and the MVP grants and dam and seawall and all these different things, they want to put everything around climate resilience under one header as like a one-stop. So you put in one application and you identify which projects or what your project is and where it might fit into funding. And then they're doing an expression of interest and really encouraging that folks do that if you are thinking about applying, because you can get feedback and they can think about where your project might fit in. So check that out. There are going to be some webinars coming up on September 25th and October 1st. And also the new round of dam and seawall programs is opening that can fund design and permitting like it did for our Hayward Landing dams, or it can also fund dam removal and in some cases, I believe, dam repair. So that also has an expression of interest open to receive feedback. So I'll stop talking. I'll hand it to you guys if anyone has updates that they'd like to share. Heidi.
Thanks, Stephanie. Boy, there's so much good stuff going on, and I'm really excited to see those MVP grants come through. There are a couple other events of interest coming up. The Mass Rivers Dam Busters is holding a community engagement workshop in Worcester next Friday. It's designed to help people who are thinking about or working on dam removal projects design their community engagement plan and really be effective around that. There's also the Narragansett Bay Estuary Program is holding an event on aquatic connectivity on October 27th. I think it's called From Planning to Passage. It's free. You can sign up on their website. That's going to be in Cumberland, Rhode Island. And then lastly, I just want to mention, I continue to work on like building the it's not a formal coalition, but building the base of support around restorations permit streamlining. Because we've had dozens and dozens of organizations that have signed on to different letters on different times on specific laws or regulations. And I wanted something more general with just like a list of all the organizations that support streamlining restoration and treating it differently than development projects. You know, this is positive healing, reversing past damage kinds of projects. So Mass Audubon has a short one-page statement about the scope of restoration needed and the need to treat it differently. And we're circulating it for organizations to sign on. It can be nonprofit, consultants. We've got several RPAs, regional planning agencies, already signed on. And even individuals in a community, if you're connected with like your conservation commission or other local boards, you can ask them to vote to sign on as well. It's not direct lobbying because it does not mention any specific bill or change to regulation in the statement, and I'll put it in the chat. Please feel free to also use this blurb and to share it with others. We've got, I think, 35 organizations signed on so far.
It is open in my tabs. I just have to fill it out. So thank you. I
Thank you.
did read through it and it's fantastic.
Thank you. And I'll find the links to those other, I don't know if the Dam Busters one is still open for registration, but
I know Danielle's about to talk about the NVEP one.
okay. Oh, okay. Well, then I'll let her talk about that. Skip it.
Thanks, Heidi. Go ahead, Danielle.
Great, thanks. And thank you, Heidi, for the introduction to that as well. So like she mentioned, the Narragansett Bay Estuary Program is hosting a workshop on aquatic organism passage and connectivity projects, anything that's sort of related to that work. So it's going to be on October 27th at the Cumberland Library. And I added the link to the chat with information about the workshop and the link to sign up for that. We're also anticipating later in this fall to be able to have some funding available for both planning and design for aquatic organism passage projects, and some capacity funds to be able to kind of get projects together for that purpose. So that'll be coming out later this fall. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And a heads up maybe to Allison that I told NBEP to talk to you about those capacity funds and gets your statistics on how helpful the partnership program is. So heads up. Thanks, Danielle. David, and then Allison, and then Heather, and then Janine.
Thanks. I just wanted to mention quickly the other MVP grant we've been working on for a year. It's called MVP 2.0 and involves revisiting the original MVP priorities in the community through surveys, et cetera. And we've come up with a seed project as a result of that, which is going to be a pocket forest, at least a conceptual pocket forest in near the Mumford, and offer a community accessible cooling shelter, educational venue, and a place to forest bathe. And right now we're in the process of convincing the local powers that be to have us develop this land in that fashion. It's the town of Uxbridge, and we're on the the cusp, and we have some good people involved, but we'll keep you informed, and hopefully this will get their approval. And it's an ongoing project, so go on for years. So that's where we're at.
Thanks, David. Excited about that.
Yeah.
Allison?
Great, thank you. Just a couple updates real quick. One, Eco One Stop is happening, but not all of DR's grants are in that application process yet. It's kind of a transition, so just a heads up. I think the culvert replacement grant that we have is in Eco One Stop, but all of our other ones are not in Eco One Stop yet, and they probably won't be until next year. So just a heads up on that. Also, I just wanted to highlight that the dam preliminary design study grant is open. I'll put all this stuff into the chat. The applications are due October 1st. This is such a great grant, and that it's the opportunity for municipalities to start exploring the idea of dam removal. It's really about that really early stage development and decision making, and kind of laying out the opportunities and also the constraints. And so if you guys are working with any municipalities there maybe that are on the edge, this is a great one to go for to kind of push it forward. So there's that one that's due October 1st. And then we'll be having the priority projects. There's a real push to, obviously we'll do the advancement of the existing priority projects this year, but then we're really pushing to get an RFR out for new priority projects this year. We're excited to get a new kind of pipeline of projects moving forward. So that will be coming out. So keep an eye out, but I highly encourage you all that the process for state grants is that once we release a notice of funding opportunity, we really are not allowed to have open communication with the public. And so I encourage you to reach out now if you're thinking about a priority project. Reach out to our folks and chat with them and try to kind of figure out, because sometimes a lot of people are like, I have a bunch that I want to submit. What do I do? And they can kind of help you, make a decision on which pathway you want to go. So I recommend opening those conversations now. And then finally, I'm with the partnerships program, and we have 3 partnerships we're working with currently. I'll put a link in also about our program, and we have individual partnership pages now, so you can kind of see how those partnerships, what their model is, their structure, and the types of work that they're advancing. It's really exciting to see, after they're now working into their 5th year, it's really exciting to see the momentum really building. And so that's available. And then we are hoping to expand that. I keep on talking about it, and it's really, we're at the point now where we have to expand because it's crucial for all the needs that we face right now. Partnerships is really key. So we're going to be hopefully releasing an RFR at some point for that as well. So I'll put that stuff in the chat. And if you have any questions, either reach out to me or go to our website and kind of can direct you to who you need to chat with. Thanks.
Thanks, Allison. And just a clarification, that RFP for design, it can also be used for private dam owners as long as they have the municipality sign on, right?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Heather, and then
Hi, I'm Heather from the Blackstone River Coalition, and we are still going strong with our water quality monitoring program. Our last sampling day is in November, so we have a couple more. And this summer we shared our data with the Rhode Island DEM. They had requested data from watersheds to do their next round of planning. So we did that, and then at the end of our season this year, we'll share all of our data again with the Mass DEP for their decision making too. So beyond like sharing it with the state agencies, we hope we've shared it with universities that want to use it for any of their research. And, so if anybody has any questions or wants that data, they can send me an email. Some of it's on our website, but we have only up until 2019 is on the website currently. We're getting the rest of it up there soon. The person that does it for us had a little computer issue when they upgraded to the next operating system or something. So it'll be there soon, but you can email me and I will send it to you. So thank you. And thanks for your support from the collaborative.
yeah, thanks, Heather. It's amazing work. It's a long data set to have. Janine?
Thanks for having me. We have a few fun things coming up for those of you who work with youth. We are hosting a series, kind of a hybrid series right now, professional development, called Student-Led Community Action. So there's like an online portion with our friends from Earth Force, and then an in-person couple of hour workshop at the Audubon Society, and there's a hike before that you can come to if you'd like to as well. We also have our environment that's on, well, now you do the online stuff on your own, and then October 29th is the in-person portion. On October 9th, a few weeks before that, we have our Environmental Education Awards ceremony. So come celebrate. It's good food and an open bar. That's all I need to say. But also really awesome people and organizations doing great things, and you'll be inspired. And it's our most fun, easygoing event. And then on November 8th, we don't have the details of this hammered out just yet, but thanks to a subcontract with DEM, we have our Youth Climate Conference. So stay tuned for that. That's on November 8th. And again, it'll be free. So I'll put them all in the chat. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Janine. And I should also mention, as a reminder, our October meeting is different. So we're not meeting on the third Friday like we typically do. We're meeting on, I think it's the fourth Friday. And it's going to be in person only. So we will not have a Zoom option for this. And it's going to be at Friends of the Blackstone or Sycamore Landing in Cumberland, Rhode Island. And we will be chatting with you about our NIFWIF grant around Kitticuck Restored and what's going on, our update of what we've done so far, what we're thinking for the spring, and planning some really fun, hopefully maybe even have some save the dates for you for some spring and summer events next year. So please mark your calendars and join us. Peter.
Yes, thanks. I don't know if Katie Liming is still on, but kudos to her and the city of Worcester for basically doing a TMDL for the 3 big watersheds, Indian Lake, Lake Quinsigamond, and Tatnuck Brook. They've really reached out to the community. They've defined the targets for the phosphorus to keep trophic levels. And now Bob Hartzell's going to run his computer and come up with potential projects that can actually do something. So it's really inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Big kudos to Worcester for doing that. It's very exciting that they have those little watershed-based plans for each of those watersheds, like you mentioned. Anyone else have any other updates that they want to share before we wrap up? Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming today. I hope you learned something new or met someone new, and we will see you in person at our next meeting on October 24th. And we will share all the notes with you with all these amazing links and updates. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.